RFTC-3 is a glass touch controller designed for controlling fan coil units and HVAC systems. It allows easy adjustment of temperature, fan speed, and heating and cooling modes. RFTC-3 has 8 capacitive touch buttons for control. Buttons 1 and 2 are used to increase or decrease the set temperature. Button 3 allows switching between heating and cooling modes. Buttons 4 and 5 are intended for optional function settings. Button 6 is used to turn regulation on or off. Button 7 is used for fan control. Button 8 allows switching between units Celsius or Fahrenheit. These icons provide a quick overview of the device's status and settings directly on the display. Welcome to our video manual on the RFTC-3. In this video, we will explore all the key features and capabilities of this device, including a detailed description and operation of its functions. We will demonstrate how to connect the RFTC-3 to a Wi-Fi network, how to use the web interface, and we will go through the settings for relays and external sensors. Furthermore, we will look at creating weekly programs, setting buttons and modes, and how to use Modbus for integration into higher-level systems. We will also go through the options and service sections, focusing on firmware updates, backup, and restoration of settings, as well as resetting the device to factory settings. In the video, we will also show how to create automations. Finally, we will connect the RFTC-3 with a iNELS cloud and MQTT for remote management and control. The main on-off button is used to turn the device on or off. A long press toggles between the on and off modes. Once turned on, the RFTC-3 automatically operates based on the set parameters such as temperature, humidity, and fan mode. The RFTC-3 offers several modes that you can switch between as needed. A short press of the mode button toggles between different temperature modes. Comfort. This mode sets the device to provide maximum comfort for users, maintaining a pleasant temperature and other conditions. Standby, ideal for when you are away from home, but still want to ensure a certain level of climate control to prevent overheating or overcooling. Economy. This mode helps save energy by reducing the device's consumption to a minimum without significantly affecting user comfort. Building protection. Designed to protect the building from extreme conditions such as freezing, it prevents damage to the device or the building itself. To adjust the temperature, use the up and down arrow buttons. The display shows the target room temperature and the current temperature. In the settings, you can choose whether to always display the set or current temperature. You can monitor the current air humidity in the lower right corner of the display. When humidity is turned off in the options, the sensor's current temperature will be displayed. Switching between heating and cooling is done by a long press of the respective button, making it easy to adapt the system as needed. To adjust the fan speed, press the fan button. You can choose between low, medium, and high speeds, or select auto mode, which adjusts based on current conditions. If you need to change the temperature units from Celsius to Fahrenheit or vice versa, press the button marked Celsius Fahrenheit. The new selected unit will be displayed instantly. The Do Not Disturb button is used to activate or deactivate the Do Not Disturb mode, which can be utilized for automatic signaling and control of the door unit. Activation of the Makeup Room mode. This button activates the Makeup Room function, which can be used to signal cleaning and control the door unit. If you are not using hotel features, you can assign classic functions for controlling wireless products in the button settings. The RFTC-3 is equipped with a proximity sensor. When you approach, the backlight of the display and buttons automatically activates. This behavior can be adjusted in the backlight settings, where you can select the efficient mode to save energy. To connect the device to your Wi-Fi network, first activate Wi-Fi by holding down buttons 1, 2, 7, and 8. The Wi-Fi icon must light up on the display. Next, select the network name and connect to RFTC-3. Once the device is connected, open a web browser. Enter the IP address, which you can use to access the web interface. Multicast DNS hostname enables easier access to the RFTC-3 device without needing to remember its IP address. Just enter rftc3.local in the browser. Here you can set up the Wi-Fi network name. Its default setting displays the product type and serial number. The password serves to protect access to the Wi-Fi network created by the RFTC-3 in access point, AP mode. Users connect to this network to configure the device. The next step, crucial for the full functionality of the device, is setting up a connection to the local Wi-Fi network and connecting to an NTP, Network Time Protocol server, to ensure time synchronization. Select the Service tab, click Activate, and connect the RFTC-3 via the local Wi-Fi. In the Wi-Fi client, enter the network name and password. Select DHCP for automatic IP address assignment. An easy connection without manual configuration. Alternatively, set a static IP, which is configured manually, as stable for frequently accessed devices, and save the changes. Once the device is connected, it will automatically set the current time using the NTP server, which is essential for the correct functioning of weekly schedules. After updating the page, the active connection will be displayed. Copy the IP address. Connect to the local Wi-Fi. And enter the copied address into the browser. Now you have the RFTC-3 connected to Wi-Fi and can fully utilize all its available features. The date and time will automatically update using the NTP Network Time Protocol server, which ensures time synchronization on connected devices according to a precise reference time. In this tab, you can see the basic information about the RFTC-3 element, such as current temperature, humidity, and the status of individual sensors. Key operational data are displayed here, allowing you to quickly get an overview of the element's status. Manual control allows manual control of the element's basic functions, such as turning heating or cooling regulation on/off, activating the economy mode, and setting fan speed. External sensors displays the status of connected external sensors, such as temperature sensors. You can monitor the temperature measured by these sensors and the current status of logical inputs 1 and 2. Here you will also find data from wireless sensors connected to the RFTC-3, such as temperature and humidity sensors or magnetic and motion detectors. The Periphery tab is used for setting and managing external devices, inputs, and outputs. This section allows for the configuration of relays, external sensors, and analog outputs for smooth system control. Here are the sections you will be setting up in this tab. For relays 1 to 5, you can freely set the following functions. Relays 1 to 3. These can be configured to control the fan coil's fan speed. They can be set for 3 speed levels: low, medium, and high. Relay 4 controls heating. You can set it to activate heating at a certain temperature or under other conditions. Relay 5 controls cooling. It can be set to automatically start cooling based on temperature or other factors. RFTC-3 allows connecting external devices via inputs, such as window sensors, motion detectors, or temperature sensors. It monitors device activity for automation, for instance, turning off the heating when a window is opened. Outputs on RFTC-3 serve to control various peripherals, such as fans, valves, or other devices. Relay outputs can be assigned to fans, heating, and cooling. The hotel address on RFSW and RFGS can be assigned for hotel functions such as Do Not Disturb and Makeup Room. It can be assigned in the device section for signaling and managing these functions. External input. We can connect an NTC sensor. If you connect a temperature sensor to terminals 12 and 13, you can utilize the data from this sensor for precise temperature measurement and use its values to control heating or cooling. The RFTC-3 device offers the option to connect two logical binary inputs. Various functions can be defined on these inputs, such as on-off, short or long press. These logical inputs can be used to replace or link to various devices and functions. 0-10 volts outputs allow continuous control of devices that support this option, such as valves or fan coils. You can set two 0-10 volts outputs. One for controlling the fan coil, ensuring smooth control of the fan's power. The other for thermostatic heads on heating or cooling, providing a higher level of control over temperature. Here you set the time periods for heating and cooling for each day of the week. You can automate temperature modes to match your needs throughout the week. Go to the Weekly Programs section. Select the day you want to modify. Now you can add a time period during which heating or cooling will be active. Select the desired temperature. You can set different temperatures for different parts of the day, for example, warmer in the morning and cooler in the evening. Write the name of the program. Click the Add button. The set temperature will appear in the list, and you can modify it if needed. In the settings, you can move the temperature to another day. Adjust the start and end time. Also, adjust the temperature as needed. Or delete the temperature from the plan. To copy to multiple days, select the desired days and click Add. Finally, make sure the weekly program is active so that the device follows it automatically every day. This way, you can easily set weekly programs for automatic control of heating and cooling according to your preferences. The Buttons tab allows you to assign functions to individual buttons, replace them with another, use in automation, or use as a wireless button. To reassign functions, simply select the new function for the desired button and click Save. For buttons 1 to 8, we can select the automation mode. For this mode, you need to create automation in the given tab. In Devices, click Add and select RFTC-3. Enter the address and name, and click Save. Go to the Rules tab and click the Add button. Set up RFTC-3. For button 1, we can choose whether we want a short or long press, or the state on or off. Select the element you want to control and set the parameters as needed. And save the automation. Then you can verify by pressing that the button for automation works as it should and follows the settings. RFTC-3 can be set as a classic wireless button and control elements directly through pairing mode. Select the button you want to use as a wireless controller. Start the pairing mode in the web interface and hold the prog button on the element for more than 1 second for pairing mode. On RFTC-3, with 1 to 6 presses, assign the required function. End pairing mode with a short press. End pairing mode on RFTC-3 with the button. And click Save. Once the pairing is complete, the device RFTC-3 is working as a wireless controller and can directly control paired elements. In this section, we will show how the individual modes in the set mode settings work. Presence mode reacts to the presence of people in the room. When the room is occupied, the device switches to comfort mode, which maintains the optimal temperature. When the room remains empty, it switches to the more energy-efficient standby mode, saving energy. Example use: if a motion sensor is installed in the room, it can detect the presence of a person and activate comfort mode. When the sensor stops detecting motion, the device automatically switches to standby mode after a period of inactivity, thus ensuring energy savings. Window function. This function automatically changes the mode to standby, or completely turns off regulation when the window is opened. This helps prevent unnecessary energy wastage. In RFTC-3, you can easily switch between heating and cooling mode based on current needs. This setting determines whether the device will heat the space or cool it down. Fan setup. This setting allows you to adjust the fan speed for effective heat or cold distribution in the room. The user can choose from several fan control modes. In relay mode, we have low, medium, high. The relay controls the set relays for different fan speeds. 0-10 volts control. If the fan is controlled by a 0-10 volt signal, its speed can be adjusted smoothly based on the current conditions and temperature settings. 0-10 volts on-off. This option allows quick fan control in on-off mode using a 0-10 volt signal. Valve setup. Permanently closed relay. This option allows the control of heating and cooling via a permanently closed relay. In valve setup, you can choose the type of valve control. You can use 2-point or 3-point valve control or set smooth control using a 0-10 volt signal. 2-point control. The valve operates in 2 states, fully open or closed. 3-point control. The valve can be set to 3 different positions, for example, for finer regulation of the flow of hot or cold water. 0-10 volts control. This option allows smooth regulation of the flow using an analog signal, providing more precise temperature control. Example use: if you use 0-10 volts control, you can control the water flow in the heating system based on current needs, achieving more stable temperature regulation and more efficient use of energy. Temperature settings allows fine-tuning of the device's behavior in temperature regulation. Here you can adjust several key parameters that affect the system's stability and efficiency. Hysteresis. The difference between the temperature at which the device turns on and the temperature at which it turns off. Hysteresis helps prevent excessive cycling of the system, saving energy and extending the device's lifespan. Offset. Used to adjust the temperature sensor. If you find that the displayed temperature on the display does not match the actual temperature in the room, you can correct this difference using the offset by shifting the temperature value so that it matches the actual room temperature. Manual minimum and maximum temperature allows you to set minimum and maximum temperature values that can be entered on the device. This prevents users from setting temperatures that are too high or too low outside the recommended range. Temperature sensor. The user can choose which temperature sensors will be used for regulation, internal, external wired, or wireless sensors. You can also set an average value when combining multiple sensors. In mode temperature settings, you set the default temperatures for each mode: comfort, standby, ELKO, and building protection, based on your preferences for each mode. This tab allows you to set up communication for the RFTC-3 device using the Modbus protocol. which is a standard industrial protocol for communication between devices in HVAC systems. It allows connection of only one fan coil to the thermostat. To connect, use the terminals 15 and 16 on the RFTC-3. Connect the wires A, data plus, and B, data minus to terminals RFTC-3. These wires should also be connected to the fan coil controller in the Modbus network. Typically, a termination resistor of 120 ohms is used between the A and B data wires on both ends of the bus to minimize signal reflections and ensure reliable communication over longer distances. In the Modbus settings, you can configure basic parameters such as the slave ID. Ensure that the slave ID RFTC-3 matches the address set on the fan coil. For example, we can set it to slave ID 2. In the Modbus menu, you will find a list of registers that you can read or write. To find the registers for Modbus, you need to refer to the device documentation that uses the Modbus protocol. Each device has its own list of registers, which may include input, output, or holding registers. Set point, target temperature. This register allows you to write the target temperature value that the device should maintain. The temperature can be set via the web interface, or you can adjust the desired temperature on the RFTC-3 by increasing or decreasing the temperature. The temperature will change accordingly, and the fan coil will operate based on the set point temperature. Air temperature. This register allows you to read the current air temperature in the room, as measured by the device's sensors. Reading the water temperature informs you of the current temperature in the system, which is critical for efficient temperature control of the environment. The Options tab in the RFTC-3 contains important options for customizing the behavior of the device, including display settings, button behavior, timers, and other operational parameters. This tab is divided into several sections, such as panel and device settings. The Panel tab is used to adjust the display and button behavior. You can set the backlight, displayed values, and button behavior according to your needs. Display illumination, you can choose whether the display backlight stays on continuously or if it automatically turns off after a period of inactivity. If the efficient option is enabled, the backlight will turn on when you press a button and turn off after a certain time. Temperature display, you can modify what is displayed on the screen, the set temperature or the current room temperature. You can also set whether you want the temperature to be shown in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Time and humidity. Display. In this section, you can choose whether you want to see the current time and relative humidity in the room on the display. Occupied or open window icon. This feature allows you to display an icon indicating whether the room is occupied or if the window is open. For example, when the window is opened, the standby mode is automatically activated and the icon appears. Device settings. In the Device Settings tab, you can manage operational parameters such as relay behavior, frequencies, or timers. This section provides options for deeper configuration of the device's functions. Operating hours displays the total time a particular relay has been activated. This setting allows you to monitor the operating time and helps with maintenance. Keep on ventilation. This option determines whether the fan will remain on even after the system reaches the desired temperature. If enabled, the fan will continue running, ensuring constant air circulation. Relay mode. Here, you can set the relay control mode for the fan. You can choose between alternating mode, where the fan speeds alternate, or multi-stage mode, where lower fan speeds remain on even at higher speeds. Frequency settings for the signal used by the RFTC-3 for wireless communication. The default is set to 868.50 MHz. Master/slave mode allows you to define whether the RFTC-3 will operate as the master, main controller, or as the slave, subordinate unit within the HVAC network. In this tab, you will find essential service tools such as Wi-Fi connection, configuration of access point or client, firmware updates, and backup or restore settings. You can also perform a factory reset here if you need to return the device to its original state. To update the firmware, go to the Service tab. Navigate to the Firmware Update section and click on Select File. Here, upload the downloaded latest firmware and initiate the process. After completing the update, we recommend restarting the RFTC-3 by turning the power off and on. To create a backup of the settings, go to the Backup section and click the Backup button. This process ensures that all your current settings are safely stored and ready for future use. To restore from a backup, select the saved file and confirm the restoration. Make sure you select the correct file to avoid potential data loss. After the restoration is complete, you can continue working with your device as usual. To reset the RFTC-3 to factory settings, press and hold buttons 3, 4, 5, and 6 for a few seconds until the RFTC-3 restarts. This will reset the device to factory settings. The second option is through the web interface. In the Service tab, find the Factory Reset option and select Perform Factory Reset. This will return the RFTC-3 to factory settings, meaning all previously stored settings and configurations will be erased. The device will revert to the original state set by the manufacturer. It is important to note that this action is irreversible and should only be performed if necessary to resolve issues or restore the system to basic functionality. Now, let's walk through how to add wireless elements to the RFTC-3 system and create automations using the devices and rules functions. First, go to the web interface and open the Devices tab. Here you can add new elements like sensors or detectors, controllers, or switching elements. Click Add Device, select the type of element you want to connect, and follow the pairing instructions. Enter the product address, add a description, and click Save. Next, we will add a switching element like the RFSAI62 BSL. Enter the address. Add the element name in the description. Click Save. After adding a wireless element, go to the Rules tab. Click Add Rule and select a condition, such as turning a relay on or off using a wireless controller. Set the button on the controller. Then select the switching element, set the control parameters, and click Save. With these simple steps, you can add various elements to the RFTC-3 system and create automations that help you easily control temperature, ventilation, and other functions. To connect the iNELS cloud to your RFTC-3, you need to have the iNELS app downloaded on your phone. This app allows you to monitor and control your devices remotely. The app is freely available on Google Play and the App Store. Open the app and log into your account. Select Gateway Administration. Click the Add button in the top right corner. It will scan for products and then display all available elements. Identify the device you want to connect based on its IP or MAC address, and select it in the iNELS app. Then enter the default login credentials. Click Add Gateway. And after a successful addition, you will see RFTC-3 in the gateway settings. In the device section, a folder named Hotel will automatically be created where you can find controls for RFTC-3. You can now control it remotely. In the web interface, after refreshing the page, you can see the active connection. You can now control RFTC-3 via the iNELS cloud in a web browser. After entering the login credentials, you will see the RFTC-3 controls in the Devices folder. You can adjust the fan speed, control the buttons for cleaning, service, or do not disturb, and use the plus or minus buttons to control the temperature. To connect the RFTC-3 to an MQTT broker, follow these steps. In the options, find the MQTT section. Here you will configure the communication. Fill in the required connection details. Enter the server address where your MQTT broker is running. The port is typically 1883 for unencrypted connections. Username and password. If your broker requires authentication, enter your login credentials. Click the button to save changes. After updating, MQTT should be active. When you change the temperature on the RFTC-3, you can see the current set value change in the MQTT Explorer.